Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the Seaman. Now I want to welcome you to another edition of the Seaman's Cinema Sit Down. A big thank you to you guys, man. Thursday night, I know what to go see. I mean, we had Ford v Ferrari come out, we had The Good Liar come out, and then we had this movie. And you guys voted for me to go see this movie, and I was kind of surprised. I was expecting Ford v Ferrari to be the movie that everyone would tell me to go see, but not the case. And like I said, a big thank you because I had an absolute ball at the movies on Thursday. Such a good time, man. This movie is so much fun and just so enjoyable that I highly recommend it to everybody who's a Charlie's Angels fan, who's an action fan, who's an action comedy fan. Man, this thing is just an absolute delight. So why don't you pull up a chair, take a seat. We're getting ready to dive in spoiler free into Charlie's Angels. That's right, man. Elizabeth Banks has brought the Angels back together and has created a movie that surprised me. I was expecting the movie to be fun, but I expected, I don't know, maybe somewhere like around here. And it topped in as one of the more fun movies I've seen all year. This thing was just so enjoyable to watch. And while this thing is not flawless, that there definitely are some bumps in the road. The second act kind of, I think, stumbles a little bit in the pacing. And there's just some like scenes that I feel like are scenes you'd see in a director's cut that you're just like, that was fun. I enjoyed that, but like, did it serve any real purpose for the movie? But what's nice is those things, while I think contribute to maybe some of the pacing issues, they don't take away from the movie, and if anything, they're enjoyable to watch. I mean, there's one scene in particular in the third act where you're just like, we needed to do that so they could get to the other side of the room. Okay, but outside of a couple of those moments and just some things that threw some of the pacing and slowed the movie down a bit, Liz Banks, bravo, ma'am. I was not expecting to enjoy this movie as much as I did. And it really comes out with a fast start. The first act is action-packed. It moves. It's funny. It's, just full of all this energy. And then, like I said, the second act, you're kind of doing more story, plotting, moving your chess pieces into the right places for the third act. And the pacing stumbles a little bit there. But the third act is also just a ton of fun, man. A lot of action, really good action, and just a ton of fun to be had on screen the entire film. I was really, really impressed with what Liz Banks did, man. And she found a way to incorporate like the other entities of the Charlie's Angels, kind of make it all canon, which was really cool. I like that concept and kind of how she crafted this version of the Charlie's Angels and the universe building that she's doing, man. She does some wonderful world building that really kind of establishes a really cool thing about the Charlie's Angels that we've never really seen done before, and it makes the things that came before it still stand. And she weaves in a big cameo that I think people will be excited about toward the end of the movie, as well as just a whole bunch of cameos, man. There are a bunch of actors that pop up in this movie at different moments where you're just like, oh, snap! And definitely make sure you stay all the way through during the credits. You don't have to go all the way to the end credits, but there are like 4 or 5 little cutscenes that she throws in there, and every single one of them is fun. It gives her the opportunity to bring in some of those cameos, and you just got the sense that this was something that Banks enjoyed doing and had a lot of fun doing. And what's awesome too is she delivers a movie that works for her lead actors, man. Kristen Stewart, Naomi Scott, Ella Balinska are fire in this movie, man. They are the thing that carries it and makes it so much fun. And Banks does a great job of weaving their stories together, giving them moments to play in different areas alone and as a team. And watching all of that is just a ton of fun. And then you throw in like the action and the choreography, something that I didn't necessarily expect to be as good as it was. And when you look at all that, I just go, wow, Elizabeth Banks, excellent job in your first time directing, just kind of running the whole show, man. This thing is a really, really entertaining movie. And like I said, it starts with the girls, man. And for me, more impressed with anyone, Kristen Stewart. Oh my gosh, man. Like, she feels so free in this movie. Like most of the movies that I have seen Kristen Stewart in, and most of the stuff that's been mainstream to the public, I haven't seen a lot of her indie work. Unlike Robert Pattinson, who I followed pretty closely following Twilight, Kristen Stewart I kind of lost track of. But for the most part, a lot of her roles are very muted, or here, right? Like they're very not a lot of emotional range, and not that she doesn't have it, but the characters haven't had it, and that is not Sabina Wilson, man. Sabina Wilson is a firecracker, and Stewart is a ball of energy the entire movie. Like, she really feels like it almost feels like this is maybe the most comfortable thing she's ever done. Like, she's really in her own skin in this movie. And what's nice is the kind of hint to an LGBTQ type of thing for her, where it's like her character could maybe be bisexual or lesbian, and which, considering her own sexual orientation, like that's a nice nod to kind of put in there. And I think having something like that allowed her to just flow out in the space and really thrive. She is so much fun, man, from her charm to her sex appeal. I mean, that big part of the Angels is their sex appeal, because they use it to their advantage to catch people off guard, and she nails that stuff. She nails the action, and she is funny, dude. Like, Kristen Stewart is gonna put a smile on your face the whole movie. I loved her so much. I was like, yes, I want this Kristen Stewart like all the time. Then throw in Ella Balinska, who I didn't know what to expect from her, and also really surprised, man. She also, has that sex appeal. She puts on that swag when she has to. But for the most part, Miss Jane Kano is a badass, dude, and Balinska's action sequences are phenomenal. And the action, like I said, the action in general is phenomenal. But what Balinska does, oh man, like she has this like rivalry with this one character in the movie, and when they get their final showdown, everything you could have wanted and then some, man. And what's great is that they're never like too good, right? Like there are moments, especially with Balinska's character, where you get nervous, and the fact that plays well, and then they can overcome it. I just thought worked really, really well in the movie. And what's nice too, specifically with both of those characters and Naomi Scott's, who we'll get into, is all the girls not only are badass, but they all have moments where they kind of let their guard or those defensive walls down. And those moments are really what elevate the characters. And I love the moments that give Balinska and Stewart and Scott to kind of be vulnerable as well as badass. And Naomi Scott is also great in the movie. She's kind of more of your like guy in the chair, eye in the sky. She's your tech person. And while she's got less ass kicking to do in the movie, they do give her the opportunity to show off at least once or twice, and it's a lot of fun. They kind of mention that she's done Krav Maga, and she gets a couple of chances to kind of put that into use. And then specifically, she's kind of the main highlight in the post-credit stuff, and just super fun. That by the time you get to the end of the movie, you're just like, yes, like this group of three women I want to see on screen again. And Scott plays the naive, kind of innocent character quite well. She's constantly shocked at what's going on or caught by surprise, but how she handles herself and then is able to move forward, I just thought she nailed. And like I said, Liz Banks as Bosley is fantastic. She's a wonderful leader, and there's a lot of twists and turns throughout the whole movie that she kind of sets up in the writing that allow her Bosley really nice moments to shine. And like I said, this is a girl power movie, man, and they don't necessarily shove it down your throat, but Elizabeth Banks is very on point with some of the things that she's trying to say as far as that girl power goes, and where women are in the world and where we are in the world right now. And while a couple of those things may have been like a little on the nose, and you could probably tone down that a smidge and just kind of let it flow through your main characters, she also litters this movie with a ton of really good guys, man. The guys in this movie are just as awesome as the girls. The cast as a whole is just phenomenal. Patrick Stewart and Jaimin Hansu both play other Bosleys, and they're fantastic. Hansu's role kind of small, but carries a lot of weight to it, and every time he's on screen, he's just so good. And Patrick Stewart, talk about like somebody giving Kristen Stewart a run for her money for having the most fun in this movie. Patrick Stewart's phenomenal, man. You can tell he's enjoying playing this role so well, and the way he just delivers things, I really, really thoroughly enjoyed him. And then you also have Sam Claflin, who plays Alexander Brock. He's kind of the head of the company that's kind of at the center of the plot. And anytime he pops up on screen, you are smiling. He is super naive to what's going on in the movie, and thus delivers this innocence to his lines that's just so genuine. Where he's like completely clueless, or he gets upset, or he thinks something's going on, but he's not really what's happening. And he's just funny, man. Like an absolute light bulb every time he steps into the room. Jonathan Tucker, who plays Hodak the assassin. Dude, like this was the villain you needed for these three women. He is terrifying. Much like I've been praising Pedro Pascal for The Mandalorian and the way he carries himself. When Hodak walks into a room, you're like, that's not the guy you mess with. Like, he is scary, and he is a legit threat to the girl. So every time he pops up, you know it's about to get serious. And that elevates the action. It elevates the levity of the scenes and makes them feel even better because there's just such a genuine like sense of urgency and threat when he's in the room. And then you also, I mean, just this entire cast is so good. But Chris Pang, who plays Johnny Smith, aka Johnny New York, you see him in the trailer when Kristen Stewart's tying him up in that curtain, which is just an absolutely wonderful sequence. But he's great, man. Every time he's on screen, he's really, really funny, brings a lot of energy, and he's one of those people who you're like, I gotta keep my eye on him because he could lead to something that you don't see coming. Like, he's kind of a wild card. Anytime Johnny New York is in a scene, it's funny because of the way the relationship that he has with the girls after that scene with the curtain. So I thoroughly enjoyed him. Luis Gerardo Mendez plays Saint, who's kind of like the caretaker. He has all their tech, he has all their gadgets, he has all their wardrobe, which the wardrobe in this movie, holy cow, man, the style is so on point, and all of that style comes from Saint. And he's awesome when he's on screen. Again, just everybody who enters this movie you really enjoy, and they just add to the enjoyment of the film, as does Noah Centineo, who plays Langston, who's kind of one of the people who works for Brock. And he kind of has a couple moments with Ella Balinska that are absolutely wonderful. He's just, again, one of those kind of like, oh, he's like the sweet innocent, don't let him get hurt guy. And he's very, very funny. And the things that they have him do, I just thoroughly enjoyed. And helps play into, the girls being able to let their guard down. Because he knows Naomi Scott's Elena Houghlin already. So you get genuine moments with the girls rather than them kind of having this front on when he's around. I really, really enjoyed Noah Centineo, and I really, really enjoyed this movie, man. Like I said, the action sequences are great. You have a great finale. The way it ultimately ends, I just sat there. I was like, oh, that was so awesome. And the way, Banks plays with men versus women in the movie, I just think really works to her benefit, really works to that girl power message that she's got going on. And at the end of the day, man, this is an action movie that has three women that can stand up to any of the other action movies we got coming out these days. It's a really enjoyable film. I think it does a nice job at paying homage to the other Charlie's Angels, entities, movies, and TV shows. And it just feels like a Charlie's Angels movie, and I think it's as good as anything we've gotten in the past. So if you're a fan of Charlie's Angels, or you're a fan of action comedies, this one's a win, man. It's a really, really fun movie. I don't think there's any way you could go and come out of it going, God, man, that was just, why did I spend money to go see that? Because it's not. It's a super enjoyable movie, and unfortunately, it's bombing pretty bad at the box office right now, which is unfortunate because it's solid, man. It's a movie that I've had a couple people go, really, you like this? I didn't think this was gonna be a good. Yeah, man, it's an enjoyable movie. So if you like action, you like comedy, you just want to have a good time at the movie theater, Charlie's Angels is the movie to do it, man. Right now, really, really enjoyed it. Really, really solid flick. But that's all the Seaman's got to say, man. I'm gonna stop my rambling because I want to know what you're thinking. Are you a Charlie's Angels fan? Were you pumped for this movie? I got a lot of love from the Kristen Stewart community when I said how much I enjoyed this movie. So if you're a Kristen Stewart fan, have you seen the movie? Do you love it? Or are you really excited to see Kristen Stewart? I think kick ass in a role that I've never seen her do something like this. She's just so free, so out there. It's just, I keep coming back to her because she's my favorite part of the movie. So if you're excited about that, you're excited about any of the girls, Naomi Scott, Ella Balinska, Elizabeth Banks. What about this movie were you looking forward to? If you have no intention of seeing this movie or had no intention of seeing this movie, what was it that made you go, I'm going to pass? And have I maybe piqued your interest to want to check it out? Anything you were thinking about the Charlie's Angels movie, whether you've seen it or not, goes down below in the comments. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new, you want to come hang out with the old Seaman anytime we're talking movies, you got to go over there, man. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that little bell that follows. You'll get alerts anytime I make any kind of video. So if you want to know when I'm talking comedy, boom, you can get in on that. You want to know when I'm talking action, boom, you'll see when that's coming. Or horror, I get it, man. There's a lot of different genres to go to, and I like them all. So if you want to hang out with me when I'm talking anything in the movie realm or trailer reactions, subscribe button, little bell. You'll get all the alerts. You'll be in the know. You'll be ready to go with the Cinema Sit Down Squad. Until next time, for the Seaman's Cinema Sit Down, I'm the Seaman. I'm signing off. Peace! Well, I'll be. You guys are still here. You must be looking for some more content. Well, don't worry. Seaman's got you covered, man. You got videos like this guy and this guy. And if you haven't yet, and you want to come check out all the Seaman goodies, join the Cinema Sit Down Squad, man. Hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the little bell down below that, too, so you can get alerts every time I make new videos.